Hello, I'm Sabiha Rahman and I'm here to talk to you about an American Muslim identity. What do we mean by that? Is it a new brand of Islam? A new expression? And how did it evolve? Let me share with you my personal experience. When we opened the doors of our mosque in Staten Island, New York in 1990, we observed that congregants from all over the globe were congregating there, from the United States, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, South Asia, and all these people were practicing Islam differently. The way they dressed, the way they socially interacted, even their rituals were different. Each group felt that their way was the right way and that the other didn't know what they were doing. And that is when we realized that so much of what we practice is a consequence of tradition and culture, which we erroneously attribute to Islam. Now what? Our children are American. How do we deal with that? So we went back to the scriptures, studied it, separated theology from culture, took the theology and wrapped it in the colors of red, white and blue. We, the immigrant parents, did that deliberately. Our children, born Americans, did that organically. And what emerged was an American Muslim identity, one that was wholly American and wholly Islamic. And what I mean by that is that some things changed and some things remained constant. What remained constant were the 5 articles of faith: belief in the one God, prayer 5 times a day, giving to charity to share our blessings, fasting during the month of Ramadan, and once in a lifetime performing the Hajj to Mecca to pay homage to Prophet Abraham, the patriarch of all monotheistic faiths. That has not changed. What has also not changed is the creed, belief in all the prophets, Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, belief in all the books that were revealed through the prophets, Quran, Torah, Bible, belief in the angels, belief in the day of judgment, heaven and hell, all that has not changed. What has also not changed are the values that we hold dear, the universal truths, compassion, love thy neighbor. Here is what has changed. The most obvious is how we dress. We dress American. Some women wear the hijab, others have chosen not to. And they have exercised their choice based on how they define modesty, which is a requirement in Islam, dressing modesty. The Muslims here in America are very well informed in the theology, far more than their parents. When I was growing up in Pakistan, by age 11, I had recited the entire Quran in Arabic. And with that, my religious education was considered complete. The fact that I did not understand a word of what I was studying was considered inconsequential. So I grew up strong in faith, but totally clueless in theology. Here, American-born Muslims are studying the Quran in English and their understanding is far more deep and meaningful. They have friends of all faiths. They don't discriminate. They have friends intra-faith. To them, it doesn't matter whether one is a Shia or a Sunni or a Wahhabi or an Ahmadi. A big change is how marriages are being commemorated. In the old country, the religious marriage ceremony was always done in private. So when I got married, the religious ceremony took place in the home. I was upstairs in my bedroom with the girls. My fiancé was downstairs in the living room with the guys, and the cleric was running up and down the stairs getting the consents and the signature. And after all was done, then we had a reception at a hotel. Now if you walk into the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and I would urge you to get invited to a Muslim wedding, it's very festive, you will notice that sitting on the stage between the bride and the groom is the imam conducting the religious ceremony in the presence of hundreds of guests. Very Islamic and very American, because in Islam, marriage is a public declaration. I wore red as a bride because that was the Pakistani custom. Here the bride will wear white. The Quran doesn't specify what the color of the bride's dress should be. I wept when I was leaving. The bride here will smile and throw her bouquet. Very American, nothing un-Islamic. I walk down the aisle on my mom's arm. She will walk down the aisle on her dad's arm. But what hasn't changed is the 3-day festivities. The pre-wedding henna, music and dance, the wedding day, the post-wedding walima, and more if you can pack it in. The bride today is not changing her maiden name. I did. My name was Sabiha Akbar. When I got married, I became Sabiha Rahman. Not because it was the Islamic way, but because it was the British way in Pakistan. It was a British colony, and this is the legacy that the British had left behind, and over the centuries we attributed it to Islam. Now that the women have studied the Quran, they are saying, it says in the Quran, call the child by their father's name. So I'm not changing my maiden name. Very Islamic, very American. There will be interfaith marriages. Islam permits marriage with people of the book, Jews and Christians. There will be Christmas trees. We believe in the miraculous birth of Jesus. A remarkable change has been the role of women in the mosque. In the old country, women did not go to the mosque. It was a man's thing. Here, they are practically running the place, sitting on the boards, making decisions, and in Long Island, you have a woman as the president of the mosque. How we celebrate our holidays has changed. The holiday of Eid al-Fitr, commemorating the end of Ramadan, has to be celebrated after the moon is sighted, because we follow the lunar calendar. In the old country, people would congregate on the streets, on the rooftops on the 28th day, looking for the crescent. If it was not sighted, they would fast another day, and if it was sighted, the government would declare a holiday, and the whole country would go into a mode of feasting and celebrations. Try doing that here. The next day, the children may have an exam, my husband may have patients scheduled in his office, I may have a board meeting. You can't just leave things to the last minute. So after decades of deliberation, in many circles, there is an agreement now that you can rely on astronomical calendar where the day is forecasted as to when the moon will be sighted. In New York City, Eid is a school holiday now, and I am on their moon. The other celebration of Eid al-Adha, which commemorates Prophet Abraham's sacrifice, is a big event. And in the old country, we would buy a lamb, bring it home, tie it under a tree in our backyard, pamper it and feed it for a month, and then on the day of Eid, the butcher would come to the house and the meat was distributed 1/3 to the poor, 1/3 to family, and 1/3 for friends. Try doing that in New York. I don't even have a backyard, let alone getting a lamb and having a butcher coming home. So we improvised, and in accordance with the laws of the land, we would either place our orders with a halal butcher and have him distributed to the homeless shelters, but mostly now we just make a payment to a charitable institution and they handle all that. How we give to charity has changed. In the old country, beggars would line up outside the house, ringing the doorbells, or stop you on the streets, and you would give out the alms. We can't do that here, but we have created organizations like the Hunger Van, like Muslims Against Hunger, that are giving right here in the community. Civic engagement is a big one. If you walk outside the mosque close to an election, you will see the Muslim Bar Association of New York conducting voter registration drives. Then there is Mgage, which is involving Muslims, getting them engaged in the political process. A big change has been the man who holds the mic, and by that I mean the Imam, very soon to be a woman. When we first opened the doors of our mosque, we had to import the Imam from the old country. He did not speak the language, he did not know the culture, our children couldn't relate to him. Now, here in America, we have seminaries. The Zaytuna Institute is one example, and there American-born Muslims, men and women, are being trained to become spiritual leaders. And finally, we are beginning to see the development of an American expression of Islamic jurisprudence. Because here we have freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, all that is entailed in developing Islamic scholarship. So I am looking forward to a reinterpretation of Islam that examines the faith in light of current issues, current times, and current circumstances, and one that is true to the spirit of Islam. That, in essence, is the shaping of an American Muslim identity. Now, one thing that will not change is food. Hummus and kebabs are here to stay. Thank you very much.